for the four panelists. And then we have continuing on this. We have some closing remarks from Mr. Takejiro Sui.
どうも皆様お疲れ様。
Thank you very much for her spending 4 hours with us, starting at 1:30. I thank you for your active participation. We have received some very valuable questions from the floor. And as for the members on the panel, I would like to thank the four specialists who have joined us. For Klaus, that's what I'd like to say. Ich danke Ihnen. To Mr. Yamaka and Dr. Takahashi, you have shared with us from the aspect of the experts, very valuable comments.
As usual. 4人の専門家のお話を聞きながら
Listening to the four specialists speaking on this, these are some of the thoughts I had. I think fact is everything. And the facts have the power to break down many of the myths that we have wrongly accepted. And so I have heard many facts to date, and every fact that I had heard today, this helped to break down some of the myths that we have been hearing in Japan. So it had been a wonderful time listening to all of you today. In closing the symposium today, there are three things that I noticed. First of all, with regard to Germany. In the recent years, I have been trying to learn about Germany, and these are some of the thoughts I have had as I learned about Germany. I think we are losing to Germany in the Second World War. Both of these countries were lost the war, and we have all both gone through a period of reconstruction. During the 20th century, I don't know, maybe the one country had been winning over the other, or maybe Japan had been surpassing that of the capacities of Germany. However, now that we have entered the 21st century, it seems that we are behind Germany in progress. That's how I felt in learning about Germany. For example, on April 4th of 2011, do you remember what happened? Prime Minister or Chancellor Merkel established an ethics committee, and the Chancellor looked at how to deal with the nuclear power plants. How many days have elapsed since March 11th? On 28th of May, they made a decision. And so it is not the decision for the nuclear phase-out that they were able to arrive at a decision, but I was impressed with the composition of that ethics committee put together by the Chancellor. And most countries would have specialists of energy issues or people from power utilities take part in such a committee. However, in the committee that she had put together, there were no representation from these sectors. This was a surprise to me. And something that surprised me were her two representatives from the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church. And there were also some representation from the consumers and from the industry. And I believe that Dr. Tepfer, who was a co-chairman of this committee, I understand that there was coverage of the discussions over 10 hours on television, where the German nationals were able to take part in that. Or very recently, I understand that Germany will not be issuing any bonds for the first time in 46 years. That means that they have a balanced budget. A single year balanced budget. I understand there's a law concerning issuing of bonds. But what's happening to Japan? For Japan, as for we only have 5 billion yen income from taxes, whereas our national budget is something like 100 trillion yen. And so what is happening to Japan? And perhaps some of you are reading Nikkei newspaper. And Mr. Jean-Claude Trichet is writing his memoir about his experience, and he wrote about the relationship between Germany and France in their discussions as to how to deal with Europe. But what's happening here in Japan is another question that I'd like to put to the floor. The reason why I ask this is that the energy issue is not a place or forum to think about just energy. We should be looking at the entire society or the entire economy or the entire nation state that we have been looking at. And so we have to look at each individual person, and so the constituting parts of the country or state. We should all be looking at the future of our country. And so when we look at the energy policy, energy system, if we are to learn something from Germany, then I think we should be learning from how they have these debates and discussions, the level of maturity of the society. It's just the thinking process that the German people have. So not purely only of technology, but they look at why that technology is necessary, why this system is deemed to be a good, favorable system. And I think it's just the way of thinking, the thinking process that goes on behind all that discussion. Now we're talking about the distribution of power in Japan, and that's something practiced in Germany, what they call Stadtwerke. And when we talk about the energy policy in Japan, are we really thinking about the distribution of power to the regions? Can we discuss or have a discussion on energy without really doing more discussion on that decentralization? I think we are just looking at each pieces. We need to have a much broader perspective and look not just about what's happening today, but 20 years, 30 years from now. And we need to have some very fundamental or basic discussions.
So I think Germany has won against Japan in many ways. And the second point is, I think we have to tell a new story. Every month I go overseas, and today I heard the presentations and the discussion. And so I think the world is starting to tell a new story. So, for example, solar impulse. Do you know that? There's no engine to it, and there's no fuel. So there are solar panels, and utilizing the power from the sun. And I think it will be flying for about 26. It flew for a continuous 26 hours in 2010, and this solar impulse will attempt to fly right around the world next year, I believe. So that's another story completely. And for the automobiles, Elon Musk has started a company called Tesla and is now building electric vehicles. So one share is priced at $260, and its capital, total capitalization, market cap is $35 billion. So this Tesla has become such a giant company. So next to Germany is Denmark. And according to the newspapers, for Copenhagen, by 2025, all energy will be based upon wind, is the goal for Copenhagen. So this will be the first carbon neutral city in the world, or capital in the world. This is a completely new story. Now, Japan needs to come up with its own another story. So I know I'm speaking too long, but let me say point number 3, going back to what Mika said, and to the last question relating to climate change and global warming. You may have heard about the hiatus phenomenon. Hiatus means that there is a stop or moratorium to the climate change. So the hiatus phenomenon is, despite the fact that CO2 is increasing, the ground temperature is not increasing in comparison. So there is a sort of a stop or lull in terms of the temperature increase. But the energy that was warming up the world is maybe warming up the seas. So in the seas, waters 700 meters, 2,000 meters deep, the seas and the waters might be warming. So can we allow that? Are we? So in Japan, the CO2 emissions, global warming, I think Japan is on a hiatus concerning climate change, global warming. In December of next year, we'll be deciding in the COP about what's going to happen from now on. So I think climate change is approaching. It has come on our shores. So we should not be this hiatus may be happening, but we should really be aware of what is happening behind it and what is coming after the hiatus. So we want to improve what is happening in Japan, what is happening around the world, and in that direction, Japan must make its effort. And let me give a little explanation about what is happening at JREF. In August of 2011, the Japan Renewable Energy Foundation was created, and the trigger for that was, of course, the 3/11 earthquake and tsunami. Of course, many projects have been put forward, and 11 international conferences have been held, and 5,000 attendants have come to those international conferences, and we've had access from 125,000 people, and we've met with prime ministers, presidents, ministers, etc. And we've met with 40 such ministers and leaders of 15 countries, and with policymakers and parliamentarians. We've had study meetings, over 150 study meetings with parliamentarians and policy planners. And of course, we've had study meeting with the media, maybe more than 30. So that is the sort of activities we have carried out in the past 3 years. And as a result of such efforts, we do not represent any vested interest. And we have become a research institute in the area of renewable energy, And I think we occupy a very important position in Japan. And this is due to the support and cooperation that all of you have provided to JREF. And let me take this opportunity to thank you for your support. And of course, governance is something that we have to strengthen. For example, we have 9 directors right now. And Dr. Takamitsu Sawa from Shiga University, professor, and Mr. Murakami, formerly of Google, has joined us. And from Belgium, an attorney, Mr. Dr. Fuke has joined the board. And Mr. Kurokawa has also joined us, and he was the head of the committee to investigate the Fukushima accident, the parliamentarian committee to do that. So let me provide you with an interesting story to close my remarks. The End of Abenomics is a big book that's been written by Mr. Hattori. And there's a joke trying to tell the unreality of economics. And let me tell you that joke. One night, under the lamp, someone was trying to find something. And a passerby saw and then asked, "What are you looking for under the lamp? Street lamp." "I'm looking for my key." And so that passerby said, "Where did you drop it? Did you drop it here or there?" And that person said, "No, I dropped it over there. But it's so dark over there. And so I'm trying to search it where it's much lighter and brighter under the lamp." So this is a lesson for economics. So when I read this joke in this book, so JREF, we must not try to find the key in a place where there is the street lamp and where it is bright. We have to change the direction of the street lamp to highlight the truth, to brighten up the area where it is still in darkness, and to really find out the truth in that spot of darkness. That is the function that JREF must fulfill. So let me thank you for coming to this international conference despite your busy schedules, and I hope that you continue to support and cooperate with JREF. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tsuyoshi-san. So with this is the end of the international conference. Concerning the simultaneous interpretation receivers, please do leave them on the desk or on the... And on March the 4th, the Revision International Conference will be carried out in Inohoru. So I do hope that you will participate in that conference as well. So we'll put that information up on the website as soon as we decide. Thank you very much.